show. Let's see if it does it. Does it do it? Yeah, it actually does it. Hi, welcome to the show. It is hot in here. I do not have air conditioning. So this lane stream will probably not go very long before I pass out of heat stroke. Hopefully I'll turn my stream off before I completely perish and turn into a pool of sweat on the floor, crying, just miserable because it's so hot in this. I am in a sense of denial, and then I keep telling myself, it's not that hot. It isn't that hot. It's only July. It's not that hot in Southern California. It isn't. And the truth of the matter is, it isn't. I don't think we've reached triple-digit temperatures yet, but we've reached uncomfortable 90s, I think. So for all of you that are not in the Fahrenheit world, that is, I know it. If you're Celsius world, you're like triple digits. Oh my God, what happened here? That's some serious global warming going on. No, that's like 30, 35 or whatever it is to you guys in Celsius land. It's funny, as a kid, I grew up in Taiwan. I always knew Celsius. It's how they reported Celsius. Came to the States, I reported Fahrenheit, and I'm also was in the metric mastery science Olympiad, so I got to went through all the metric stuff. So I was really, really good at estimating temperature, because I would just touch it and feel like, okay, compared to human body temperature, which is like 35 degrees, 36 degrees Celsius, I can always get pretty close with my estimations. But honestly, Fahrenheit's a little bit better for talking about like actual temperature of like the air, because 100, like, oh, 100's pretty hot versus like 35. The difference between 35 and like 30 is not as obvious as the difference. Like 100 degrees is like hot. 90 degrees is like, it's getting warm. 80 is like, okay, we're comfortable. 70 is like kind of chilly. 60s is like, okay, put a jacket on. And below that, I'm not familiar with, because I'm a Californian. We don't go below 50 here in California. All right, I gotta throw the chat on my screen here. I haven't done that yet. So let's talk about what I put in the headline, which I love it when people are like, hey, you do 2-hour streams. It's like amazing that you get off topic, because I can't do a 2-hour stream on a topic. It literally says the topic is the starting position, and then I talk about it for like 20 minutes, and then you guys start bringing up stuff, and I talk about what you guys are bringing up. So people are always like, oh, you don't talk about your... Yes, I do, but it's in the beginning. So you need to go back to the beginning if you're coming in late. And I'm sorry, people are like, you need to have a set schedule. It's like, well, you're right. But the problem is I don't know what my schedule's like are on the weekends, because my weekends are weird. Like I'm late today because I had like a rehearsal that went from 9 to 2 o'clock today. I got some food we're going to have a little movie night tonight, so I got some chicken, it's marinating, and I came here to do this, and then I'm going to die from heat exhaustion, which they're going to have, they're going to have my funeral at the thing. Anyhow, speaking of funerals, let's talk about Beetlejuice. So my friend Joe said, let's go watch Beetlejuice. I'm like, cool, I don't know anything about Beetlejuice. I mean, I watched the movie. I've seen the movie at least 3 or 4 times. I know the movie. I've never seen the musical. And I was like, let's just keep it that way. I don't know. I'm going to walk into the musical without having to listen to anything. I don't want to read anything. I don't want to know anything about Beetlejuice. And my God, that was a fun show. So we went over to, let me explain that day. It was a Thursday, and I woke up at like 6 a.m. to pick up another friend of mine to go do a shoot outside flying. We did a jib crane shot. I took one of my old cranes. I'll tell the story because I need to fill some time, right? I bought this crane probably about jib. It's a jib. It's not really a crane, but it's a jib. It's I'd say about a 16-foot jib. But I bought it back in I want to say 2003 or 4, like really early in my career. And that was 3, John. He's coming. Oh, yeah, it's a Beetlejuice reference. But in the rules of the play, it's a little different. Anyhow, I bought this jib like 20 years ago, and I use it occasionally, but I haven't had a lot of use for it, because drones have kind of taken over some of the jib shots. Drones are a little bit better for certain things. But anyhow, I haven't used a jib in a long time. Pulled it out, and I put my Ronin S3 on it. So it's like old toys and new toys come together, and we share. Anyhow, so I did the shoot and then I did a bunch of shoot when I was running around in the mall, like holding a camera with my little the RS3. So a lot of running around. I was sweating profusely. Then I delivered a prop that I made for a theater show. Gave them the prop, and then I realized I won't say. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it. I won't say it. So I needed to make another prop. Let's just go to say that. I'll leave it at that. Once we get some distance from it, I'll talk about it. But I'm happily making another prop, so they're gonna have two props. And then we went over to pick up my other friend Joe. We go to Hollywood to watch Beetlejuice. Before we go to Hollywood, though, we got Korean barbecue. And good Lord, Korean barbecue for me is kind of like that's kind of my treat. Like, my friends like sushi, and I like sushi too. I'm happy to go have sushi, but the prices of all you can eat sushi have kind of gotten out of control, at least in my area. But the Korean barbecue, I feel like that's going to be my like special event thing. It's like I want to do Korean barbecue because beef belly, good God, that stuff is good. Oh my Lord. Anyhow, I went to see that Korean barbecue. Then we saw Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Like I say it again. So basically, the play takes the story from the movie and really does expand a lot upon it. Now, before we go into it, I do want to read from you. I'm not going to make it a very exciting live stream here, but I want to read for you to you the original development from Wikipedia, at least what they have on Wikipedia. Let me just pull it up here. Beetlejuice. So the original script was really interesting. So basically what happened was Tim Burton had just made Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and the studio's like, "Oh, you can actually make money. Tim Burton actually can bring in dollars." So they started working on the script for Batman with Sam Hamm, according to Wikipedia. I'm kind of going off my notes here, or not my notes, the Wikipedia's article right here. So while Warner Brothers was willing to pay for the script's development, they were less willing to greenlight Batman. So Burton had become disheartened by the lack of imagination and originality of the script that had been sent to him, particularly hot to trot. David Geffen handed him and Burton a script for Beetlejuice, written by Michael McDowell, who wrote the script for The Jar, an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, directed by Burton. Burton actually directed an Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode? There you go. I thought that was the original Alfred Hitchcock. Oh, the new Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Gotcha. Okay, so anyhow, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here. I wanted to go with, here's the original script idea. It was far less comedic and much darker. The Maitlands, which the Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis characters, car crashes depicted graphically, with Barbara's arm being crushed and the couple screaming for help as they slowly drown in the river. A reference to this remained as Barbara had her arm feels frozen, and so forth, so forth. Okay. The character of Beetlejuice, envisioned by McDowell, was a winged demon who takes on the form of a short Middle Eastern man, is also intent on killing the Dietzes rather than just scaring them, and wanted sex from Lydia instead of wanting to marry her. In this version of the script, Beetlejuice only needs to be exhumed from his grave to be summoned, after which he is free to wreak havoc. He cannot be summoned or controlled by saying his name 3 times. He wanders the road freely, appearing to torment different characters throughout the manifestations. McDowell's script also featured a second Dietz child, 9-year-old Kathy, the only person able to see the Maitlands and subject to Beetlejuice's homicidal wrath in the film's climax, during which he mutilated her while in the form of a rabid squirrel before revealing his true form. Are you having fun yet, guys? Is this not okay? Like the original, I feel like I want to just see if I can find like a version of the original Beetlejuice script, because it's not funny. It's like, it seems like a lot more like The Exorcist than it is like the fun kind of what ended up being a Saturday morning cartoon when I was a kid growing up. Anyhow, another version of the script the film had included with the Maitlands, Dietzes, and Ortho conducting an exorcism ritual that destroys Beetlejuice, and the Maitlands transforming into a miniature versions of themselves and moving to Adam's model of their home, and the refurbished look like the houses. Okay, so forth, so forth. I like this. So Larry Wilson talked about the negative reaction to McDowell's original script at Universal, where he was employed. This is a cool quote from Larry Wilson. I won't name names here, but I worked at Universal Studio at the time. I was a director of development for the director, Walter Hill. I had a very good relationship with him, a very prominent executive at Universal. He liked me, and he liked what I was doing with Walter and the material I was bringing in. I gave him Beetlejuice to read, and I gave it to him on Friday. And on Monday, his assistant called me and said, well, he wants to meet with you. My initial reaction was, wow, he read it. He must have loved it, or he wouldn't have wanted me so soon. But I went to his office. He literally said, "What are you doing with your career? This piece of weirdness. This is what you're going to go out into the world with. You're developing a very good You're developing into a very good executive. You've got great taste in material. Why are you squandering all that for this piece of shit?" Was basically what he was saying. And goes to show, right? Shortly after that, we sold it to the Geffen Company. Anyhow, so what I didn't realize was like how like dark the original source material was. Like obviously it's a winged demon in a version of a Middle Eastern man. I will be taking sips commonly, so get used to that. So what came out of what the play did to it, and it's actually kind of very fun. I mean, obviously, every time you take a movie, like a movie property, and you convert it to a musical theater, you have to make it longer because musical theaters are 2 acts, and they're usually between 2.5 to 3 hours long. So a movie like Beetlejuice, which is only like, I don't know, like 90 some minutes or something like that, needs to be padded or stretched out, and in many ways the concept needs to change quite a bit. And so the opening song is Lydia. It opens up in a graveyard with the death of Lydia's mom. So like immediately like, oh, we're just departing from the source material. In fact, there's a line that Beetlejuice sings that just is like, oh, you're departing from the source material already? Bold move there. So the Beetlejuice is obviously very kind of a fourth wall breaking character. I mean, to say that the recent version of Beetlejuice does not have like incarnations of the Beetlejuice from the cartoon show that I grew up watching, that doesn't have incarnations, maybe a little bit of Deadpool humor, kind of fourth wall breaking kind of thing. It's obviously a product of our modern times. But I think what I wanted to get at, the major change in the musical was they obviously killed off the mom off screen. So that puts Lydia in a very dour mourning mood throughout the play. And the whole play essentially is her dealing with, if you were to really break it down, it's her dealing with her loss of her mother, the sense of directionlessness of her character. And also it plays, then because of that, or by doing that, you also give her father like an actual character. Like in the movie, her father is sort of just kind of nothing. Like it's a nothing character. And the movie, the parents are kind of nothing characters. Catherine O'Hara, she doesn't have a really reason for being that kooky. And then the Lydia in the movie doesn't really have a reason for being so dour. But in the play, by having her mother dead at the beginning, you give that impetus. You give that reason, that dramatic reason for the character to be what they are. And it leads to a very touching moment in the second act. And I'm not going to go too much into spoilers. I hate talking reviews where I basically talk like endlessly. I don't want to give you the whole plot breakdown. But I mean, so much to say that the plot is close to the movie. It's close. There's certain scenes that you have to have. You have to have the scene where they invite guests over, and then there's the Maitlands, which is the Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis characters. They possess the people, and they're saying, "Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana." There's that scene in there and all that stuff. But anyhow, the death of the mother leads to, actually, to me, a quite effective and touching scene in the second act, where father and daughter like literally like have a moment, and they finally see eye to eye as far as like his approach to the death of his wife is to move on, and she's like, "Why won't you say my mom's name? You won't say my mom's name. Like you want to just keep going. You just want to jump ahead. You don't want to deal with the death." And he's like, "Well, I can't deal with the death. It's too painful. That's why I don't say your mom's name. It's just too painful for me to deal with." But they come to an understanding, and there is that element of the movie that includes this whole other like emotional arc that isn't in the movie. I mean, the play. The play contains this beautiful other emotional arc that does work. That's really powerful. On top of that, you've got Beetlejuice just being a hammy and hilarious comedian on stage, and just working the crowd, just being goofy and hilarious while you're having this beautiful emotional arc. To me, I feel like the Beetlejuice the musical is almost, not to say the movie itself is not, it's a treasure trove of its own historical time period. It's fascinating. I mean, it's important key, but I feel like the musical almost makes it better. It elevates the source material. And don't you wish that all these Disney remakes would do just that, elevate the source material? And I had high hopes for it. I had high hopes when Jungle Book came out. Like when Jungle Book came out and I saw Jungle Book, I thought, oh, I didn't realize there was this larger undercurrent of what it means to be human, the exploration of what it means to be human. Like the King Louis character in the Jungle Book was basically saying to, like, I want flame. I want the red flower, which is fire. I want to know your secret, human. Let me be human. That to me was like, I didn't realize there was something deeper going on than just Baloo dancing around, oh, don't do bare necessities. No, like there was actually more of a meaning, and it intrigued me, and it wanted me to explore the topic and look into the story. Beetlejuice is an example of just an amazing production that came out of this idea of the movie. So, everyone's against remakes and all that, and I'm on board with you guys. I'm getting tired of the remakes. But if you do a remake that elevates the source material and explores it in different ways, and my God, you can make some really great properties. Now, to be fair though, it's always going to have that shadow of, it's going to have a shadow of the original movie. It has to have a shadow, but over time, I feel like that it can become its own thing. That was a great play. Again, I'm thinking of like a lot of the musicals that I really love do oftentimes become meta musicals. Like Beetlejuice is going to be one of my tops now. The Producers is one of my all-time favorite musicals. Again, another movie-based musical. And the other one is one of my tops, but it's not. It is original. Is Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon is very much a meta musical in that all the songs are basically kind of not retreads, but like parodies of previous songs. Okay, so let's hit some of your comments here. So I know I promised to like the comments here. A couple here, not too many. Anton says, I lost my job recently due to the SAG strike, despite the UK being in UK and affected our production shutdown. What's your opinion on the strike, and what do you see the outcome being? I'll get into that a little bit. I don't have a lot of opinion on the strike, but my initial reaction is probably going to be on the side of SAG on this. I don't know. I heard a little bit of that. Bob Iger was talking about how the writers and the actors are a little bit what do you call it? Greedy, I guess. Greedy in the negotiation. I don't know because I feel like. I think what's happened, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know the whole details, and I'm not in that world. But you see what's happening in Hollywood, the amount of money that's being spent on these shows and all that. And if you're spending that much money and you're not getting any good results, I don't know. We'll talk about that if you other guys want to chime in with your thoughts on that. I also heard that maybe this is a good time for the VFX guys to unionize, which, maybe they need to. maybe the fact that the studios have been able to abuse the VFX artists is what results in all this excessive VFX that we have in these movies. Like, we could pare it down a little bit and go with less VFX, but more interesting stories and stuff like that. That maybe that would be a lead to the fact that they can just spend all this money and just make VFX artists work like crazy. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they'll fix Hollywood. Who knows? I don't know. I'm being a little facetious, but MKL257 says, you're in luck. They're making a sequel to Beetlejuice. Yeah. In fact, they kind of hint on it in the play. because there's a part where he's like, Beetlejuice is like, I still don't know my dad. Sequel time, But I don't know if the sequel is necessarily going to be talking about like Beetlejuice. Well, Beetlejuice has a mom issue in the play, which is in the movie. But yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, I mean, I'm now that I've dug more into the lore of Beetlejuice through the play or the movie. I was looking up the background of the movie, seeing the play, and the play was sold freaking out. I've never seen the Fantages that full. I mean, it was like massive people, and lots of people had on like striped suits and stuff like that. They're cosplaying Beetlejuice. I mean, it was the crowd. No, I swore right there. The crowd ate it up. The crowd loved it, and I even count. Being a musician, it's like, oh yeah, there's 11 people in the pit, 12 people in the pit, or something like that. And the trumpet player was having a nice night. He was doing good that night. He just had some real hot licks in there. So anyhow, that is my take on Beetlejuice. So we'll see. We'll see if the next Beetlejuice is going to be good or not. I don't know. Are they bringing back what's his face, Keaton for it? I'm kind of curious to see if because I was going to ask my friends, like, do you think Keaton saw the play? I'm sure he probably has. But like, what would you think if you created this character that's just such an oddball character? Like who? Like if you were to describe Beetlejuice to somebody that didn't know the property, and it's like, hey, I want you to play this character. How do you want me to do it? Well, it's like a weird like coked up car salesman, So anyhow, Jack Ripper says, I gotta see more plays. Plays are fun. So I think another reason why plays work really well is because they get workshopped. So when you put on a stage musical, you go into what's called previews, and at least this is the old days. I mean, nowadays they still do previews, but it's a little bit more, it's a little different because of internet, social media and all that. But so workshop is when you get together and you go through the play, you perform it, and you just do it over and over again. And you start seeing all the flaws and the weaknesses, and you try to fix them. You try to alter things and get them to work. Sort of like editing, right? It's the editing stage, but instead of reshoots, you just write new scenes and stuff like that. Then you go into previews in which you work in front of an audience. So you do that. In the old days, you would do that for like 6 months. And I have this book. I love this. When I read this book, I loved it. It's called Second Act Bombs, like the worst bombs of Broadway history. And it goes back to like the 40s, 40s and 50s and 60s time. And so back in those days, if you were a company and you were workshopping your play, your musical, you would go to like Philadelphia and spend like 6 weeks in Philadelphia doing previews. And then we would have paying audiences come and they would perform the show with the understanding this is a preview. This is not a set in stone show. We're still working stuff out. Right? So you work that out for another six weeks, and then you go to Broadway, and then you do your run. And then when your run's over, then Broadway, then you can do a national tour and whatever and all that stuff. But I think that also helps like make these shows like tighter because it's like test audiences. They get to see what works and what doesn't work and work with that. I don't know why we're going into that. Anyhow, yeah, Jenna Ortega is in the new Beetlejuice. You would expect Jenna Ortega to be in the new Beetlejuice movie, right? Absolutely, think you would be. All right, one more comment before I talk about the next thing I want to talk about. Then we'll break it out in the comments altogether. What's your opinions on movies that have one setting, like Hateful Eight? Don't know the official term. They're one setting movies. I don't think there's an official term for it. I like them because they are often very they're dialogue heavy. They're very theatrical, or as in like theater. They're stagey, right? Like one of my favorite one setting movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called The Big Kahuna, which is actually based on this play called Hospitality Suite. And that's basically I've gone through this before, but if you're new, it's a story about these three salesmen that come to a business convention. I believe in the movie they're lubricants. They're industrial They're selling industrial lubricants, and they're having the hospitality suite, which they're having a party that night. They want to invite all the clients, but they're looking out for this one guy, the big Kahuna. He's the one that's gonna he's gonna make or break our careers. And it's got Danny DeVito. It's got Kevin Spacey, even though you're not supposed to say his name anymore, and Peter Funicelli or something like that from Twilight series. He was very early in his career, and it is nothing but dialogue. And the first in the play, I believe the first half happens like before the party, and the second half happens after the party, and it's a really wonderfully scripted. So I love movies that take place in one setting because they feel very theatrical and very it's all about the drama. Anyhow, Jenna Ortega's in typecast activating. Well, I think Jenna Ortega probably I'm sure she probably appreciates that. Hey, we need a gothic girl. Who do we? Oh, Jenna Ortega. Call her. Because you'd be pissed off if like you were the gothic. Like Hollywood usually comes to you if you want to play gothic, and all of a sudden, who's this new actress coming down? They're giving her parts in all these gothic movies. You'd be kind of like, that's my game. No one. Why aren't they calling me? Well, Jenna Ortega. Anyhow, I like Jenna Ortega. If you say Kevin Spacey 3 times, he appears. Let's try it. Kevin Spacey, Kevin Spacey, Kevin Spacey. Oh my God. You're right. It worked. Go away, Kevin. Go away. Go away. Anyhow. All right. So let's talk about the other movie. Thursday night driving home from LA, my car rolled over 300,000 miles. So that was a big day. That was like a huge day. So Beetlejuice on the play was so freaking funny. Very, very funny. I was like, okay. And then I came home and I think I got to stop taking these edibles because I got like the Friday after I was like kind of feeling hungover. I mean, maybe it was the Korean barbecue and seeing a hilarious show and maybe having a little something later. And, the Friday I was just like, I was just feeling like out of it. So I came to my office, did some editing. Okay, well, I'll go see a movie because I want to talk about a movie on my live stream. So I went and saw Joyride. Now, just give my impression of Joyride overall. I liked it. I'm a positive view of the movie. I would say if I had to give it a grade, maybe B minus. It didn't. Reason I want to see it was because Chris Gore and Film Threat gave it a glowing review. I wouldn't give it as glowing a review as they would. Maybe because I just came out of seeing Beetlejuice, because Beetlejuice is so funny. This is a funny movie. It's good. If you don't know what the story of Joyride is, according to Chris Gore, the original title was, and pardon me for swearing here, the Joy Fuck Club. But they couldn't advertise it that way, obviously, because, anyhow, so basically it's a story about these two girls that meet when they're very young kids because they're both Asian in a white town. And they become best friends. One ends up being like a superstar lawyer, and the other one kind of a loafer artist, but generally well-meaning, and they're friends. Well, anyway, the superstar lawyer has a assignment to go to China to secure this final deal, and she brings along her best friend to be a translator because she speaks Chinese. And while they're over there, and then the loafer girl invites her sister or cousin or something, niece, I'm not sure how they're related, who's kind of like this weird, a little bit like kind of kooky out there. I'll say funny woman, and then they meet up with a superstar lawyer's college friend, who's Stephanie Sue from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and hijinks happen, and the boss doesn't really wants to meet her real parents in China. Anyhow, it becomes like a road trip sex comedy, over the top comedy, which, you know what, when all you've been fed in the last like 3 years has been like comic book movies, and I don't know, just kind of to see a comedy, kind of refreshing. when all we talked about Star Wars comedy, Star Wars, Marvel, Jurassic Parks. It's like all this stuff, and to see just a straight out comedy, pretty good. And I'm not gonna lie, I think her name Grace Park is the lead, is so unbelievably beautiful that I just sat there and watched the movie with her the whole time. I was cool, and there was one, because it's a sex comedy. There's a sex montage where all the girls are going out and doing their thing, and I was thinking like, man, it ends badly for all the men. I won't spoil it, but it ends badly for all the men, and the men that were with men, I kind of gave it away a little bit, that were with is it Grace Park? I don't think it could be bad. I don't think it was bad for them. I'm pretty sure. I would have been like, well, still doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you got. It's not Grace Park. Grace Park is the one from Battlestar Galactica. I'm getting my parks confused. Although she's very pretty too. Joyride is Ashley Park. Ashley Park is so redonkulously beautiful. It's just not right. Can we just spend the rest of the stream just talking about how beautiful Ashley Park is? I wouldn't mind doing that. In fact, I just have her picture up here. Sorry, I'm getting very distracted here. Ashley Park is, I got major crush on Ashley Park, very much so. Can we take a second? I'm not. Maybe it's the heat, or maybe the fact that I got Ashley Park's picture up here. Here, I'll show you what I'm looking at. See, I'm looking at on that screen. Here's Ashley Park. Emily in Paris. I gotta watch Emily in Paris now, huh? All American Bikini Car Wash. Oh my God, no. That's gonna get me in trouble. Yeah, Ashley Park. There's your Instagram. We're just gonna spend our time, just watching, just looking at her Instagram. Close. Go away. All right, never mind. All right, back to me. Okay, it's okay, John. Whew. Okay, Ashley Park. Okay. We're all good. We're cool. We're cool. Is this mean Dat Dennings is free again? Well, I'm a one woman guy. If it's Kat Dennings or if it's Ashley Park, whatever. Whoever gets this first, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. Whoever gets it first, keep it in my pants. It's all in my pants. I gotta keep her in my. Never mind, John. Don't do that. I have a crush on Park Chan-wook. I'm not afraid to Google that. Am I going to be afraid to Google that Jack D. Ripper? Well, no, I can get that. It's a sympathizer. I always worry that I give off vibes that I'm gay. I just worry about that. I don't know why I worry about it. Like, what? If people think I'm gay, who cares? It doesn't matter, right? But I know I'm not gay because I have a lot different feelings when I see something like Ashley Park versus somebody like who's the best looking guy? Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge. I think Ewan McGregor in Oolong Rouge. It's the Chinese version. It's the Oolong Rouge. Oolong. No, Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge and Big Fish is the handsomest man I have ever seen in my life. He is so pretty. My feelings about Ewan McGregor in those movies, like, wow, that is one good-looking man. But they don't in any which way match the feelings I see when I see Ashley Park, just in. Anyhow, has this gotten creepy? Have we gotten? Is the creepy cliff here, and I've just jumped right off of it and just woo? I think I've gone there, right? I think I've gone there. Anyhow, Ashley Park is really pretty in the movie, and she's the lead. I also really liked Stephanie Sue. I don't know how to pronounce these Chinese names. Sorry, even though I'm Chinese. Stephanie Sue looked really good in the movie. Like I didn't. She came off more frumpy in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I didn't realize how pretty she is. Like she's really pretty in this movie too. And I'm sorry, I'm not gonna. I'm not like heavy praise on Sherry Cola. She's not playing as pretty, but Ashley Park and Stephanie Sue were very pretty in the movie. Very pretty. So, was the movie funny? Yes, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, after seeing the movie, I didn't think it was the greatest comedy. Like compared to the movie I saw a couple weeks ago called No Hard Feelings, which is another kind of a not sexploitation, but a sex comedy. I would put them about I put them about the same. Although, so I think part of my issue is I, as a guy, don't quite latch on to the female sisterhood of the traveling pants sort of kind of road comedy. It doesn't jive with me because I'm not necessarily the target audience, although because of me, my eyes, no, because I'm Asian, I probably am part of the target audience. It's a woman thing. I appreciate the view into the world of women, but it doesn't like click emotionally with me. Whereas No Hard Feelings clicked a little bit better because it's about a guy that couldn't get a date in school. What? I'm just saying what are you inferring? Never mind. It's a terrible joke. I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to be entertaining. Are you not entertained? It's hot. What do you want from me? I'm dying. I'm sweating. Anyhow, so yeah, I think I would say to me, it's maybe a slightly bit lower than No Hard Feelings. I want to remember No Hard Feelings a little bit more because Jennifer Lawrence beats the crap out of people naked on the beach. I can get that. Although this one has some nudity in it that may never leave my mind. I think I'll have that image flash to my head for the rest of my life. Okay, they're about even. I appreciate the fact that there's two really hard R-rated comedies that are just silly. Now, they keep playing this trailer for this movie called Strays, which is like a talking dog movie. Like, oh, cute, a talking dog movie. But I think it's an R-rated talking dog movie. So maybe this is the year for like just R-rated comedy, which to me is like perfect. I'm in. Although that doesn't have Ashley Park in it. So, John is on today. Am I on today? I don't know. I'm just being weird. All right. Rise and Shout. Hey, John, do you have a filmmaker IQ on how Star Wars was made and all the different skills needed to bring together a movie like that held up over 50 years? There's enough stuff out there on Star Wars that I don't really need to do anymore on Star Wars. Like all the different skills is basically all the different skills it takes to make a movie. I think it's also one of those lightning in a bottle things where I don't think you can necessarily even, if you got all those people with all those skills today and put them together, you may not have anything. You may have anything great. Rigel 7 says, hang on, is Jennifer Lawrence naked or the people? Jennifer Lawrence goes, like she convinces her the boy who the parents are paying her or they want him to have a girlfriend. So they're dangling the option of giving her a new car. So Jennifer Lawrence convinces let's go skinny dipping. So they go skinny dipping and so they're all in the ocean naked. And these three jerks, the two guys and a girl come and like, how are we going to steal your clothes? And she's like pissed off. She's like, you're not doing this. So she comes onto the beach naked and she beats the shit out of them. It's really pretty. It's a pretty epic scene. It's really cool. It's not sexy at all, too. It's not like sexual or erotic at all. It's just a naked woman punching people and throwing sand in their eyes and then getting punched right in the haymaker. It's all there. It's fun. It's fun. Hey, Elam Road, gotta go. We'll see you later. All right. See you later. Comment says, definitely out of topic, but Eli the computer guy who used to be a big on YouTube gave a great explanation of all the recent fear-mongering from AI. I gotta check that out then. I was looking at some of the fear-mongering in AI. So I think I told you guys last week, right, that I tried to do, maybe I didn't. I used AI to come up with some ideas for logos for this the chamber that I was working with, and it's great. But the thing is, like, I got notes back from the client, and AI is a great starting point. So I have to go back and basically, well, they liked it, they loved it, but they're like, wow, can we do this because we want it to have more of a, we want it to have less features, and we want it to be a little bit more open and like more exploratory in the ideas space. And I'm like, oh, good, cool. I'm going to get the seed of the idea from AI, at least use it as a mood board kind of thing. And I'm going to have to eventually come back and just redesign the whole thing anyway. So, Rigel said, this has just become a must-see for, what do you mean, No Hard Feelings? Or No Hard Feelings, the one with the naked Jennifer Lawrence. And Joyride has I'm guessing it's a stunt double, but it has some nudity in it that will be forever etched to my brain. I won't say any more because it's kind of a spoiler of the joke. I mean, it's funny. It's not erotic. It's funny. That's the thing about nudity. It's like the nudity today, it's like you want to do the nudity where it's funny and not erotic, because erotic feels exploitative, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like we've become more puritanical as far as nudity is concerned. But yeah, if you do nudity for erotic purposes, it's exploitative. But if you do nudity for humor, that's perfectly cool. That's why we can see male butts in movies all the time, right? Just put male butts everywhere. Although, man, if you remember, if you guys ever seen what's the movie that they made after Borat? Not the other character that had some male nudity in it that was pretty hard to get out of your head too. That how I know I'm not gay. That's the reason. Hugo, what was the name of that movie? I forget. Anyhow. All right. Vinyl Buff says, hey, John, just joined. Sorry if I missed it. Are you going to watch Oppenheimer in IMAX 70mm? Hope we see more 70mm in the future. I've been thinking about it. I got to find out where around me has Oppenheimer in IMAX like 70mm. I know my own personal theater doesn't have the real IMAX. It has IMAX scope or whatever they want to call it. It's a big screen, but it's not the 4x3 screen that you would see. I think I have to go all the way to Ontario, California, which is like a 60-minute drive. The problem is I open a show this week, Little Mermaid, but I probably can see it in the early afternoon if I time it right. I just got to make sure I be back in town for the show. Or the other option is to see a really late night showing in my theater. I don't know if I can make it to a 70mm because I want to try to do. I mean, I can't do an Oppenheimer Barbie movie. I think that's the order you want to watch. You want to watch Oppenheimer because I think that's going to be more depressing, and then you want to watch Barbie because then Barbie's kind of like the chaser. It sort of takes the bad taste out of your mouth. I'm not saying it's a bad taste. I'm saying it's a pick me up after Oppenheimer. Because if you watch Barbie then Oppenheimer, I think you'll just be depressed. So that's what I want to probably see it. So I don't know how I'm going to see Oppenheimer. I'm definitely going to see Oppenheimer probably tomorrow. And it is 30 minutes, but in general, Silicon Valley desperately need a new iPhone. By saying AI is so frightful, they are hyping its importance. Is that the new iPhone thing? I gotta check out the Eli the computer guy thing. Matthew says, I hate Zaslav's ruthless cost-cutting measures. Looney Tunes cartoons from the 50s and 60s were pulled from HBO Max due to the end of the intra-company deal. Huge backlash, but Zaslav didn't care. Studio executives chased short-term profit and put all their eggs in a few baskets of insanely expensive blockbusters, streaming services, and they're paying the price. Spielberg predicted in 2013. Yeah. Well, Spielberg predicted that it would happen in 2013, not 10 years down the road. We are living the worst crisis in Hollywood since the 1960s. On the plus side, Hollywood only innovates when they are truly at the bottom. New Hollywood in the 70s was ushered in by a crisis in the 60s. Agreed. And then even much the 80s is kind of the birth. Even the new Hollywood, that Tarantino describes. I keep talking about cinema speculation. If you haven't gotten that book yet, you got to get that book. But I feel like the new 70s that we kind of glorify today also led to the 80s. And the 80s were really the boom of feel-good entertainment. And I think feel-good entertainment was what I grew up with. You know, Spielberg's, you know, Raiders and all that stuff, and the adventure movies, and like stuff that was fun again, versus the 70s. Because I remember the Bruno, thank you. Bruno is the one movie I was thinking of. The 70s, I remember in the book, Quentin talks about how trying to tell his mom about Rocky, and everyone was so like, oh, Rocky, it's another movie about people with their problems. Every movie is just people with their problems, right? Because 70s movies were just movies with people with their problems. And then the 80s, when the Rocky came around, like Rocky became like, oh my God, you know, he's gonna fight everyone's cheering. They're super excited that he's holding out the ring. He's surviving that last battle. You know, that was refreshing. So I think we got to go through this period of now we're going to probably enter more like the 70s era, where we're going to have a lot of like more introspective movies. I feel like action movies. There's I saw the trailer for the new Expendable movie, and I thought, I don't care. Like, nothing looks cool. Like, the fight stuff just doesn't look cool. It just looks like choreographed fight stuff. Like, it doesn't excite me. The fighting doesn't excite me at all. But like, I don't know. I guess because I get excited by like dialogue and like like story momentum and stuff like that. Anyhow. Helium Rose says, back when it was first released, my dad got to see 2001 Space Odyssey in widescreen. He told me it was great, but I've never had the privilege. Occasionally they run it in if you're in LA, they occasionally run it in Hollywood. There's a Cinerama Dome, I believe. They occasionally play it like every once in a while. There you go. The 90s edgy counterculture was a direct response to the feel-good media of the 80s, the family-oriented sitcoms and the like. Although the 90s had a lot of family-oriented sitcoms, like Friday TGIF was basically family night. I mean, it's all family-friendly stuff. And it wasn't a single thing on TGIF Friday that you wouldn't let your kids watch. It's Urkel. It was Step by Step, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, those kind of shows. I think Boys Meets World might have been in that. People forget that Rocky lost the fight at the end. Yeah, but it wasn't about losing, was it? He proved to himself he could hang in the ring. That was the reason why. And that's why people love the movie. You're like, oh, he lost. Who cares? He freaking, he hung out with the best. He made it. It's Rocky. Come on. Everyone gets, anyhow. AI felt to me, he says comment, AI felt to me like another Google tool, great for many things, but it can't do your thinking for you. It pointed me the direction its ability to think is woeful. Totally woeful. Totally agree. It can't think. It doesn't think. That's the thing with AI. It doesn't actually think. You just tell it what to do, and then like, here's what I think. I rephrase that. You say, hey, AI, give me this. And like, well, based on your input, I'm just gonna like, I'm going to just pick what statistically is the most likely situation. So like stuff like this behind me, right? This scene is an AI generated scene. I threw it because I was talking about Beetlejuice. I thought, well, give me a shot of the netherworld as envisioned by, in the style of Tim Burton. Now, I think this is going for more of a Sleepy Hollow Tim Burton than like the original Beetlejuice aesthetic. But I was like, all right, I'll go with that. Now, if I were like being a little more serious and I really wanted a little more exacting of what I wanted, this is just a live stream after all, I wouldn't be satisfied with that. But that's AI for you. Or at least that's what large learning models of AI. The worst part, however, and like here's the thing, I don't know if you guys worked with enough in the creative field enough to know to understand what I'm saying here, but the one argument that would piss me off is if a producer has an idea for a movie, because producers always have ideas for a movie. People that are not creative in the creative field always have ideas, and then they can go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I got this idea for a movie. Write a script on this movie." And the ChatGPT is like, "Okay, and you've got like an 80-page script. The producer's like, ah, yeah, cool. And the producer doesn't even bother reading it. He takes that 80-page script and is like, hey, WGA writer, fix this. Make it good. I would absolutely hate to be that writer because that is a shit job. That is the worst freaking job because the producer didn't think through his idea. He just threw it to a computer. The computer doesn't actually think. The computer just like randomly picks the most statistically likely possibility words and just strings them all together. And then you have to like clean that up. That's impossible. That's terrible. That's like if I gave you like 500 strings of lights and just like scrambled them all up. Like, here you go. And you're like, cool. What do you want me to do? I want you to like clean it all out and make it perfect. And then fix all the broken lights. And, I don't know. And while you're at it, design the Christmas light show in my house with these 500 lights. Like, it'd be awful. Absolutely awful. But tell me the truth. If any of you guys worked in the creative field, that would happen, right? Some producer is going to just do that. You know it. And like, there's nothing going to stop them from doing that. You totally know. Healing Rose says, LL, it's like trying to debug someone else's software. Exactly. It's somebody else's software written by an AI and then given to an AI by someone who doesn't know how to write code. On top of that. All right. Just like any YouTube recommendation, Google search, and other algorithms, though, I have to say, ChatGPT is one of the best new ones in a long voice. Voice AI has actually had the worst potential. There you go. That's what Count for Comment says. Anyhow. Go back. Matthew says, I hope that Barbie, Oppenheimer, Napoleon, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Megalopolis are all very successful. I think Barbie and Oppenheimer... So there's a theory that Warner Brothers put out Barbie to go against Oppenheimer because they kind of wanted to stick it to Oppenheimer because Nolan's no longer working. Nolan didn't release this movie through Warner Brothers. I think that's not correct because I think when they originally came up with the schedule, I don't think they thought Barbie and Oppenheimer would be in competition. And they're not really in competition. Like, the audience for Barbie movie is not necessarily, at least on the surface, the same audience for Oppenheimer. Now, because I'm a movie nerd and because I love my sense of humor, I've been part of this whole Barbieheimer, movement to kind of like say it's a double feature. Everyone's got to see both, and why not? You guys, if Greta Gerwig weren't helming Barbie movie, I wouldn't see Barbie movie. It's Greta Gerwig is the reason why I'm seeing Barbie movie. And then Nolan, Oppenheimer, obviously, because Nolan's involved. But anyhow, it could be a good thing because it could be like, unlike Tenet, which was supposed to like reboot the theater after the pandemic, Barbieheimer is probably going to be much more appropriate to like get people back in theaters, hopefully. And I think the theater experience is important to have. Like when I saw Beetlejuice in a packed theater, just the sense of community of being in a group of people, then we were all sharing this one thing. It's important, and I think for movies to really be movies, like you need to have that experience. Otherwise, they're just like watching. Otherwise, like watching movies at home. You want to be in a theater with other people to share a movie, especially a comedy. Anyhow, I'm going on weird topics. We're channeling weird things. Dial of Destiny costing $300 million always makes me facepalm. Money isn't everything. Hong Kong made so many action films that outclass Hollywood and only did a fraction. And that $300 million for Dial of Destiny might actually be on the low side because they just came out like the other day talking about how another movie, I forget which one, The Flash was another movie like cost $100 million more than it did. So, I mean, I don't know if you heard this, like, I don't know if you heard this at all, from anyone else, but like the failures of Dial of Destiny and The Flash, I feel like may not be as bad as you guys think they are. I think what they can be is sort of a blank check to then make whatever you want or to erase the success of anything else out there. To put it more mild, put it more bluntly, let's say Disney has this 300-400 million dollar boom bongo with disaster with Dial of Destiny, whatever it is, or the Flash. Flash is probably a better example because Flash is really legitimately a big bomb, right? So they spent all this money on Flash, but now for the rest of the year, they can just they can release smaller movies and make a ton of money on those small movies, and then not have to pay taxes on any of them. Like they'll take that loss and just spread that. They could probably spread that loss for like years. That's why people always say, like, how did Trump avoid paying taxes and all that? Because he had a big loss this one year, and because the tax code is such a way that you can extend the loss over a series of years. And like before, you're like, oh, that's the rich and famous. I've done that. I've had a loss. I've reported a loss on a year, and then basically because I'm lost so much money, or I reported a loss on my taxes, I was able to carry that loss to the following year. You can do that legally. So with the Flash being as big a bomb, they might be able to spread that loss over years, and then like, hey, we're scot free. So that's the thing. That's the weird Hollywood accounting, right? So like, yeah, and it can hurt. Movie writers who like you're guaranteed 5% of the profits of the movie. Like, oh great, I wrote this movie. Now look, if you write a movie for a major studio, you're getting paid six figures, right? You're getting 100,000, at least in the six-figure range. So you're going to be pretty well off. However, you're going to also get royalties. But they could say, hey, we're going to give you 5% of the royalty, 5% of the profit from this movie. Like, oh, that sounds awesome, man. I just wrote Jurassic Park 25, and I got paid a nice stipend, but I'm really counting on that 5% of the profits that I'm going to see for the rest of my life, right? And then the movie will never make a profit. Even it could be the biggest smash hit in the weekend. It could be doing gangbusters, but no, it didn't make a profit. It never made a profit. Movie didn't make a profit. But you said it had a record-breaking open week. Yeah, but we got to pay the theaters, we got to pay for advertising, and the studio costs. There's a lot of money involved, and in order to make that number one weekend, we had to spend a lot of money. So there's no profit left. So sorry, and that's how the Flash is going to end up helping WB in the long run. I don't know. I mean, that's speculation. That's my accounting speculation. So anyhow, Jack Ripper says, I watched the Boogie Nights last night on the whim, and the scene with Alfred Molina is magical. I rewatched it, and I have the exact same feeling. Like that particular scene was really like the movie stops for that Alfred Molina scene. Like it just stops, and we just have this amazing scene, right? It wasn't the guy. Yeah, he was the guy like throwing like little not bottle rockets, little crackers, and he's just running around, and everyone's just getting freaked out by it. But I'm trying to think, there was a sort of a nod to that movie. Oh, it was in the movie that Evil Me made. Babylon. Babylon had a scene that was a reference to that movie. I thought it was The Big Lebowski, but no, The Big Lebowski doesn't have a reference. The Babylon has a scene that's sort of like a nod to that Alfred Molina scene, where it's like a constant ratcheting of tension using like a sound effect, like somebody's just messing around. Anyhow, all right. Healing Road. Cool. If I write some garbage spaghetti code with no... Oh, you guys are talking about code. You guys talk about code all you want. Arseny says, spoilers for Oppenheimer. They're going to invent the bomb and drop it twice. Sorry. Fat Man and a little skinny boy or something like that. I remember... So Fat Man... And I was watching some stuff about... Fat Man was like an airburst. And the other one was like a ground burst. And so, yeah, pretty messed up. But you had to kind of do it. You kind of had to do it. I think if something has a message that you hit that fit you that moment, it's enough of communication. I think if something has a message that fit you that moment, it's enough of communication. There you go. I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure what that means. Well, you can clarify. uh, they need better writers. AI is going the opposite direction to fix it. I think the problem. I'm going to land on the side of the writers. I think the writers probably need to be let loose a little bit more. I don't think. I mean, yes, there's going to be bad writers. There are bad writers. There are people like the people that wrote She-Hulk are bad writers. They are just god awful writers. She-Hulk. I'm going to put at the bottom of the list. But I wonder if too that sometimes studio interference really becomes a thing because I don't know if you guys. I mean, you probably know this, but no script has ever sold and then is immediately made in that form. Like every script if you write a spec script and you sell it to a Hollywood studio, guess what? They're going to rewrite it, and probably like 5 or 6 times. They're going to attach a director. The director's going to bring their own writer, and the writer's going to rewrite it for the director's, personality or style and all that. And then let's say that director's like, let's say that director's taken off the project and they bring another director. Well, the other director's going to come in and rewrite that script all over again. Like we talked about this Beetlejuice, right? The original Beetlejuice script was nothing like what ended up on screen. A winged demon that looks like a Middle Eastern man. So there's constantly this over and over rewrite, constantly changing. So I feel like the voice of the original author will probably get lost. Even though it's about gaming, there's an amazing episode of the show called Mythic Quest, and it's McElroy, who's one of the writers on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. McElroy's project, I believe Charlie Day is involved with it too. But what the cool thing about Mythic Quest is one episode in the first season is just a completely outside of the regular storyline. It's just this one story that has nothing to do with the main characters. And it's a story about these two, like husband and wife. Well, they weren't husband and wife. They met. And the girl was like a super like dour, obsessed with death and always wearing black and just, like Wednesday Addams type of a character. And the guy is kind of like, he kind of likes her. So they get to know each other. They become, boyfriend and girlfriend. And they decide to write this game. And the idea of the game is like it's an exploration of death, and there's no way to win the game. You basically spend the entire game running away from this ghost. And in the end, the ghost will always get you. You will always die at the end, and it's like this meta-narrative, right? And it does well. People, buy the game. And then they ask, okay, we want a sequel. Okay, the sequel comes out, and, it's better graphics. It's more, a little more. The key message is there. And they want another sequel. Okay, but this time they want to give the main character needs a gun. Like, you need to give the character a gun to fight death. And the wife is like, I'm not comfortable. It's like, but they're gonna give us a lot of money. So okay, third version has they have a gun. You run around with a gun and you're shooting death. And then the fourth version's like, it's a little dark. Maybe we want to put a little more. Put this character in there. It's kind of like a floating dragon. It's like Puffs the dragon, and he's going to be in there helping you fight death. You can't escape death, but if you go far enough, you might be. And you have a gun, and then Puff the dragon will kind of help you out. And then by the end of the show, it's like they're doing like Comic-Con. It's like these big puffy Puff the dragon guys, and they're dancing around, and like the couple ends up divorcing. But anyhow, very 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 poignant episode, and brilliant set of television. I don't know what I talked about it. Talked about other than the fact that, when these scripts basically become like games of telephone, so the original script might be dark and good and powerful, and it gets morphed in all these different ways, all these pressures. I mean, I think the biggest problem with Kathleen Kennedy is not that she's a bad person, it's that she dictates. She's gotten so much power that you can't say no to Kathleen Kennedy. So she has an idea. Let's put a brunette girl in there who kicks ass. Like, okay, like you take your marching orders from Kathleen. She has to do what she does because she's the freaking head of the studio, and she's not. She hasn't really been on the creative side in that sense. Versus, if you look at, like, seriously, look at Kathleen Kennedy's IMDb page. Take a second. We'll do it right now. Let's take a second and look at Kathleen Kennedy's IMDb page. Kathleen Kennedy. Right? Her first credit, her very first IMDb credit as a producer is, I want to say The Exorcist. Not The Exorcist, is Poltergeist. Right? Okay, so we're going to go through her Poltergeist. First credit. Second credit, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Third credit, Twilight Zone, the movie. Okay, maybe some kids got killed in that. Let's not talk about that. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Gremlins, Fandango. Goonies, Back to the Future. Young Sherlock Holmes, Color Purple, Money Pit, American Tail, Inner Space, Empire of the Sun. Batteries Not Included. The China Odyssey, I heard of that. Empire of the Sun, filmed by Steven Spielberg. The TV movie. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Land Before Time. Little Nemo, Adventures in Slumberland, Back to the Future Part 2, Joe versus the Volcano, Back to the Future Part 3, Gremlins 2, Arachnophobia, Cape Fear, Curly Sue, Brief History of Time, Feifel Goes West, Hook, The Tiny Toon Adventures, Noises Off, Alive, Far Off Place, Trail Mix, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, The Flintstones, Milk Money, Bridge of Madison County, Congo, Best of Roger, Twister, Lost World, Jurassic Park, Animaniacs, Sixth Sense, picking ones that I've heard of, AI, Artificial Intelligence, Seabiscuit, War of the Worlds, Munich, Diving Bell, Persepolis, I don't heard of that one, Crystal Skull, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Last Airbender, Hereafter, Adventures of Tintin, Warhorse, Lincoln, Star Wars Episode 7, Voice. So up until that time, that's an insane track record as a producer. That is unbelievable. She's been in the back. She's been producing these movies with just an unbelievable track record. So, like, who are you to tell her she's wrong? That's the thing. If you're working under her, who are you to tell her she doesn't know what she's talking about? This is a lady that's been, like, basically kind of carved out a huge chunk of my life as far as the movies are concerned. But that's scary. So if she's surrounded by basically yes men and women, what are you going to do? How old is she? I don't know. How old is she? She's got to be in her 50s, maybe 60s now. Like, so, if E.T. came out, if Poltergeist came out in like 82 or something like that? 82. That's 40 years ago. She's got to be like in her 60s then. Let's see. Kathleen Kennedy, how old? Age. She's 70. Wow. She's 70 years old. That's the thing. Like, that's people like, and we talked about this last week. I talked about audience capture and talking about like people kind of going hard on Kathleen Kennedy. Man, look at her. But like, I get people don't like the new movies, the new Star Wars, the new Indiana Jones, and they're all blaming Kathleen Kennedy and all that stuff. But look at her track record. That's like, as far as her qualifications go, you can't get more qualified than she is. You can't get more qualified than she is. I'm not saying that as a justification for, like, I'm not defending her recent choices. I'm just saying that's why she's where she is because she has such a freaking backlog of stuff. I do not know much about Kathleen Kennedy, but she always sounds like the office coffee guy that Frank Zappa talked about. Well, the thing is, though, like, if she didn't have anything to do with the success of all those movies, then she should also have a lot of other stinkers in there. But I think she just has an eye for what works, and she basically surrounds herself with, like, Spielberg and Lucas and certain Zemeckis and talent like that. and the way I was telling somebody on a Reddit post, I was like, I think maybe her talent when she was younger was being able to kind of bring certain people together and create a certain kind of synergy, people and stories together, and matching them together, and then finding that just perfect synergy. I think that was her big talent. Because look at that track record. And I didn't skip a lot of movies. I didn't. She had nepotism. Maybe that's what it was. She climbed up the ladder of the merit. That does not mean that she is creative genius. That's exact. She has the ability, kind of like what I was saying earlier with that. Executives don't have creative talent. That's not their job. An executive is not creative. It's not a creative job. It's a managerial job. It's also sort of a coaching job in a sense. Like a producer shouldn't be the one the producer doesn't come up with the ideas, or they might come up with the ideas, but they don't really, that's not their duty is to put people together with resources and money and then, bring everything together. They're sort of like, well, like for the producers, you've seen the movie and the play. They find the story, they find the writers, they find the directors, they find the actors, they bring them together and they create magic. That's what a producer does. Maybe what's also been happening is a lot of the producers don't trust their creatives anymore. We have this sort of, we've elevated the idea of the director as this idea, auteur crap, where maybe in the old days producers were just like, they loved the idea that they put all this stuff together. They can call the movie theirs in a sense, even though it's really a combination of all. I don't know. I may be going off on my own ideas. When she was with Spielberg and Lucas, she was good. On her own, her films are terrible. That's what I mean. It's like, so she's not really on her own now. She doesn't direct the movies. Like, she has the same title as a producer. E.T., she was a producer. Poltergeist, she was an associate producer. Gremlins, she was executive producer. She was an executive producer on a lot of these. Like Money Pit producer, Color Purple producer, Empire of the Sun producer, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was an executive producer, so she's more from a studio side. She's not creative. She never was, and she isn't now. She doesn't write any script. She doesn't direct any of the scripts, right? But she does produce them. So it's whoever she surrounds herself, that the creatives she puts in charge are maybe not the same caliber as Spielberg and Lucas. I think that's probably the correct thing to say. Maybe she's just 70 years old. Like, hey, she's had a good 40 years of doing this, and sometimes people just don't take it forward. She gets blamed for the story directions and decisions that she isn't even in charge of. Well, she isn't technically in charge of all of that. It's like she can make known what her decisions should be. But you're right. Other than that, she's not really in charge of all these decisions. Producer is incredibly vague and broad title. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, that's true. They'll give producer title to anybody. You helped out with the food. You're an associate producer. But producer in this sense here, and in this encode here, it basically means the person from the studio that essentially oversees the larger business aspects of it. Again, not necessarily the creative stuff. Although creative, they may have a say. They probably do have a say into her creative. You thought she was in her 50s. She looks really good for 70. Wouldn't that be true? Now, Jack Ripper makes a good point. She's surrounded by yes men, just like George when he made the prequels. It's true. So my friend found this. So there's a version of the Star Wars prequels. Actually, it's the third movie, Revenge of the Sith. Where what they did was they took the dialogue and then they auto-translated using Google into Chinese, and then translated that Chinese back into English, and then they redubbed the entire movie with those retranslated English dialogue. And it actually, I think it makes the movie a little bit better, because it makes the movie feel more almost Shakespearean. Like, why are you on that on that table, man with long face. It's like these weird. Do you not? Or I think what is it? The famous line. I have the high grounds. Like I have the preferred geographical location. You do not stand. I have the preferred geographical location. It was pretty cool. Anyhow, I would suggest looking it up. Star Wars translated from Chinese. It's pretty funny. You have to watch all of it, obviously. Do I think there's a difference between shooting black and white and doing black and white in IMAX? I don't have any reference on what it is shooting IMAX black and white. Like I'm not even gonna venture a guess about shooting black and white. So if we talk about black and white in post-production versus black and white in like shooting it black and white. So there are sensors that are designed for black and white. They're called monochrome sensors. Like Red has a monochrome version out there. And to be honest, that's a different image than what you're going to get if you shot in color and then refigured it in post-production. Because a monochrome sensor is literally one color, or it's one color, one chrome, one monochrome, right? So it's just black and white values. You're going to light a little bit differently. If you shoot color, you're actually shooting. Well, you're obviously shooting red, green, and blue, Bayer pattern. Most of your luminance values are coming from the green channel. So your basis of black and white. If you were just to take your color image and dial that saturation down to 0, what you're seeing is the green channel. So you're only seeing the green channel. Now in post you can affect that by basically putting a little bit more of the blue into the green channel, a little bit more or blue into the luminance channel, which is what the black and white is. You can put less of the green, you can put more reds, you can have a lot of fun and really mess around. And if you were shooting digital and you were saying like how would you shoot black and white digital without using a monochrome sensor, I'd say just shoot it in color and then mess with it in post. However, if you shot it with a monochrome, you would have the effect of look. You would have a different way the colors blended together. So, that red lipstick might not look as dark or bright depending on how you set up your monochrome. You can use color filters to kind of do that on set, right? Now on film, you got me. I would imagine that IMAX film probably is faster. Black and white film tends to be faster than color film. You're going to get a different look than you might get more of a contrasty look. And with film, and I don't understand all the stuff with like the development processes. You can run like bleach bypass and all that. Well, bleach bypass is probably a color thing, but there's a lot of things, a lot of darkroom tricks you can go with black and white that may be a little different than color. So that's the answer as best I can with that. I don't have any experience with IMAX film. And to be brutally honest, I don't think any of you guys will either. Because unless you're Christopher Nolan, you ain't shooting IMAX. Anyhow, that's my thought on IMAX. I get hung up on IMAX film. Comfort Comment says, I look at her and just think she's a typical corporate executive there to care about the money for herself and her children rather than the movie. It's a job. It is a job to her, not Mouse. I agree, yeah. And I think she probably agrees. I think she thinks what she's doing is right. Everyone, we talked to this one Reddit comment I was going back and forth. We ended up talking about not reimagining, but like revisiting old stories or re-envisioning, deconstructing heroes and myths and stuff like that. And it was very kind of anti-deconstruction of Luke Skywalker, of even Indiana Jones, although not a whole lot of deconstruction going on there. But I was saying, like, when I was in college, it feels like when you're in college, like, the first thing you do is deconstruct myths and heroes and stuff like that. So I spent a lot of time deconstructing fairy tales. And I got really involved with Into the Woods, which is a deconstruction of fairy tales. And there's a song in there, I'm going a long way around, there's a song in there that says, everyone, like, no one's alone. Like, someone is on your side, someone else is not. When you're seeing your side, our side, maybe you forgot you are not alone. They are not alone. So everyone thinks they're the hero of their own story. I don't think they're out there to like destroy, whatever. They think they're trying to like insert whatever is the cool. I don't know. I honestly do think they're trying to insert their own political beliefs into the movies, and they're trying to get like more women in these stories. I just think they're doing it in the shallowest way possible. What's my thought on the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs remake? If they can bring something new to Snow White, I'm perfectly happy with that. I just wish they wouldn't just make essentially theme park like musical versions. Again, like I've been a big I started this stream talking about how I liked the Beetlejuice remake, right? The thing is, Disney on Broadway has had an incredible track record of actually producing really, really good remakes. The first being, I think, Lion King in '96, which has become sort of one of the icons now. It's considered proper repertoire, as far as like big big musicals for Broadway. The Lion King of Broadway is considered a wholly different approach to it. It's both friendly in that it's family friendly in that it appeals to the kids who just know the animated, so they get introduced to this idea of theater. It's really well done, and it brings a new angle to it without being so far removed from it. I'm doing Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid's not the greatest, I think, hit as far as Disney's concerned. I did Mary Poppins 9 years ago, which was my first experience with the theater down south of me. Loved the experience. That Mary Poppins is really good. But then again, that wasn't particularly Disney because it was one of those things where the estate basically said they could do the Mary Poppins property as long as no Americans were involved with it. It was only British people involved in the creative team. So that was troublesome. Like I said earlier, Jungle Book I thought was a good remake. If they can take Snow White and figure out an angle with it that works, then cool. That would be awesome. But after Little Mermaid, the movie version, after that disaster Pinocchio, I forgot about that thing. That's how there is literally a scene in the new remake of Pinocchio where Pinocchio's walking down the street and he stops and he sees a pile of horse shit and he looks at it. Oh, what is this? And that is like the animators saying, yeah, we know. I'm not kidding you. It's not like cartoon horse shit. It's not like a shit emoji. No, it's like a full 3D CGI steaming pile of horse shit. I'm not fucking kidding. It is horse shit on screen on a fucking movie. On a fucking Pinocchio, probably the most iconic Disney movie. The song from that movie plays at the beginning of every fucking Disney movie for the last 50 years. And they have a scene where Pinocchio is like looking at horse shit. That, you got me, now, are you not entertained? First I was talking about Ashley Park, now you're talking about horse shit. What's going on with this stream? This is kind of flying out of control here. That movie. Oh my God. Charles Babbage says in my fight makes all of the Timon heads from the Lion King Broadway. Awesome. I saw the Lion King at the Pantages and I thought it was really cute. I liked it. It was not my favorite. It doesn't have, I wish Lion King would go a little bit darker and deeper into the story, but it's a kid's show. I'm not going to freaking go crazy with it. Rigel said, I missed it. What was on the street? It was fully 3D rendered. Like they had like 4K textures. Like they go in the really high quality textured horse shit on the street of Pinocchio. I forget why we're getting on this point here. It was terrible. That Pinocchio movie was awful. And I wrote that on my Facebook, and one of my friends like, well, I liked it, and my kid thought it was great, and my kid thought that scene was funny. I'm like, your kid has no tastes. Okay, I won't say the joke in my head because I know that will get me canceled if I said that joke. I won't say it. I will not say it. Sorry. I know I'm dangling a piece of like, you're like, oh, come on, Johnson. No, nope. Yeah, that Pinocchio movie, I mean, they took Willow off of Disney Plus. They should just take that movie right off. Should take that movie, burn the negative, take the computer that rendered it, all the computers that have like the hard drives, just smash them. Because that movie should just be, that movie is a piece of shit. And it's Pinocchio, man. It's fucking Pinocchio. Pinocchio was my favorite character growing up. Why? Like, here's the thing. You guys probably call your dads, hey, Dad, what's up? Hey, Dad. I called my dad Father because of Pinocchio. Because Pinocchio is Father. Pinocchio called his dad Father. So I grew up calling my dad Father because of freaking Pinocchio. And then they took a huge horse shit on my fucking... Never mind. I'm so pissed off. Jack Ripper said, yeah, the Del Toro's version was good. The song sucked. Yeah, I think when it came out, I was saying the same thing, right? Like, if you just took the Del Toro version and just took all the songs, just scraped them right out of it, would have made the movie a lot better. Would have made the movie a lot better. Which movie? Pinocchio! Don't make me spell it, because I probably can't spell it, because it's Pinnochio or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, kids think everything is great, but when they get older, it won't hold up. Like, when I came out of the movie, I came out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 or 2. I'm like, that's the greatest movie I've ever seen! And my dad's like, yeah, sure. My father was like, oh, yeah, it was all right. Yeah, son. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Oh, that was awesome! Yeah, okay. Yeah, they should have done the original book version. That's the thing. There's, well, if you did like the original, some of those original versions are kind of dark. If you go back and do like the original fairy tales and like they really go into like real, instead of like being kind of like wink and a nod deconstructionist like Tangled or something like that, or even the Ice Queen movie. Frozen, Ice Queen movie. Some of those fairy tales get kind of messed up. You know, like Rapunzel's story, right? Rapunzel, you know, like she loses her she gets pregnant, and then she gives birth while she's under the spell of sleep, right? Or then her prince like is then banished, and he has to wander about, and he falls into like a patch of thorns, and he gets his eyes gouged out. And the fact that he goes to Rapunzel and he finds her, he's blind, but he cries because his tears from his eyes like wakes her, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember the exact story, but it gets pretty freaking dark. Also, Cinderella. There is a part, and it's into the woods too. Cinderella, you know, she loses her slipper at the ball, so the prince is going around to see all to see if they can find whoever fits the shoe. And so there's the evil stepsisters, right? They're evil. So the stepmother's like, you gotta win that thing. So it doesn't fit, so cut off your heel. So the stepsister cuts off her heel, and then she fits into the shoe. And like, oh, yay, I found my bride. And so she's taking the stepsister off, and then she realizes like, oh no, the shoe's being covered in blood. So they pour the blood out. This is all into the woods. And they go back, and the other sister's like, oh, my foot's too big. Cut off your toe. So she cuts off her toe, and still the same thing, blood in the shoe. A little darker than the Disney version. There's no little running around mice happy. Yeah, I've got a whole book on Grimm's fairy tales, like the original translations. And, you know, like the character of Cinderella, there's like Chinese versions of it where it's called like Cinder and the girl's ass. And by girl's ass, they mean like the donkey, not her arse, but her ass. Anyhow. Ripper agreed. It was way better than I expected. He lost me with Shape of Water. It's like somebody I was watching an interview, like, hey, that's a fish fucking movie. I'm like, yeah, but it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor, people. I like Shape of Water. I thought that was interesting. I mean, it was It was weird, but as you can tell, I love weird. Weirdness is cool. I love weird. A writer is literally killed in the film. Which film are we talking about now? We're talking about Shape of Water? Or are we talking about Pinocchio? Which I hope the writer got killed for. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to say that. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. There are no dark movies anymore. They're all blindingly bright. I don't know about that. I'm trying to think. I'm sure Oppenheimer will be dark. Joker was pretty dark. You know what's also so I'm going to tell you my age. I've been to like 5 productions of the Pantages Theater. Thing is, like, I'm not rich, right? As you can tell, I'm not rich. I'm John. I'm not rich. No, and I'm not. I don't have that much money, right? So I don't. Going to Pantages is a you want to go and have fun. I try not to get the cheapest tickets, but I also can't afford or like the first 24 rows A through Z of the orchestra section. So I'm like usually like double D, which I'd love to be. Or when I saw Mean Girls, which also great, by the way, Mean Girls, great adaptation of a movie to a musical. They're actually making Mean Girls into the musical into a movie. So it's started off as a movie, started off as a book called The Queen Bees or something like that. Became a movie, became a musical, and now take that musical and make it a movie, which is going to be good. If they do it right, it's worth a watch. Anyhow, I was on that when I was at I was in XX, which I thought was perfectly acceptable because it was Mean Girls, and I was at the XX chromosomes. Anyhow, I'm not rich enough to put myself in the front half of the theater, so when I go to the Pantages, I have real trouble focusing on the actors because they are too bright. Like, they put a lot of light on them, and obviously you want a lot of light on them, but like for some reason my eyes cannot resolve the actors. When I'm sitting closer, I could probably. And I went to watch Joyride the other night. I had no problem concentrating. My eyes were. I could perfectly see everything. Everything was clear. But when I went to see the Pantages Theater, just the theater, for some reason, my eyes just can't focus right. And when it's super dark, and it's just, I'm trying to make out their facial features, but they're so small. It makes my eyes just. It's hard on my eyes. So, moral of the story: I need to buy better tickets. That's just what it is. It's true. I need to buy better tickets. I want a copy of Into the Woods from Watch Mojo contest. I only contributed to get the ball rolling and never did watch it. The movie version is they kind of they do kind of gut the play version. So one of the major one of the major plot point I have a problem with in the movie is in the play there are these two rival princes, and the one prince is Cinderella's prince, and the other prince is Snow White's prince, and they sing a song about how hard it is to be a prince who's so dashingly good looking, and all the maidens want me. I'm so so they get Snow White and they get Cinderella. All right, first act is over. Second act, okay. Now the princes have the same song. It's a reprise of the same song, but this time they're singing like, I'm a dashing prince, but now I'm married. Like, I'd rather be off, like, being my princely self. Yeah, maybe we can have an adventure in the woods and go find ourselves some new ladies. Like they're so shallow. So the main character, the baker's wife, ends up having an affair with one of the princes, and then she dies. The baker's wife. In the movie, she doesn't have an affair. She just dies. So it takes away like a real key point in the plot, a point that's like, I'm sure if it was a guy, you probably wouldn't have taken the fact that she cheated or he cheated. If it's a girl, I was just showing my friend Schmigadoon, and I had the same issue with that show. In Schmigadoon, it's these two couple. They go to this place they go on a hike and they end up in this place called Schmigadoon, which is like a musical, and they're trying to get out. And so the only way they can get out is they try to find true love. But the thing is, they're not in love with each other. So they kind of like split off. They kind of separate themselves. And she actually has an affair with like the young, roguish And she has sex with a drogish man. Now he falls in love with the farmer's daughter, but he doesn't have sex because she's underage. And that would make that really uncomfortable. But she's fine. We're fine with infidelity on her side. Because infidelity on her side is that she's just trying to find herself. She's trying to make her way back to him, right? But you know, she on the side, she has this fling, and it's okay because they're separated. But no, he can't have any infidelity at all. No, they play that for laughs. And it's a shotgun wedding. No, he really can't, like, you know, get with anybody, because that would be, that's grounds for divorce. But she's fine. Now she can flirty, you know, she can flirty around. That's cool. That's acceptable. It's okay to have, you know, it's okay to cuckold him. That's fine. Anyhow. Matthias, why are you writing a writer was killed in the film? Do you not realize I don't read, I have a lot of comments on my board. I don't understand what the hell you're talking about saying the writer is killed in the film. Like, quit asking me, say, a writer was killed in the film, read it out loud. Like, what the fuck do you want? I don't know what you're talking about. Give me a clue. I'm missing all my comments. Yeah, because they're not showing up my feed, man. I don't know. Like, this stream is not purely for reading your comments. If you want to do that, do your own stream. But like, if I don't read your comment, doesn't mean. Never mind. I hate when people tell me like, oh, you're not. I'm not a monkey for you to perform. Anyhow, I don't know what you mean. You keep saying a writer was killed in the film. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we are not connected telepathically in which I can read what's on your mind. Oh, writer was killed in the film. What the fuck are you talking about? We've been talking about all kinds of films. Anyhow. Hey, John, a bunch of people talking in Austin, they're talking about Sound of Freedom. What are your thoughts? I don't know. So, Sound of Freedom, I wanted to see it, but then also I didn't want to be depressed. So, that's why I didn't see Sound of Freedom. It's an interesting story, $14 million movie that basically took on Dial of Destiny on July 4th and won, right? Now, maybe the fact it's called Sound of Freedom, which to me is weird, which to me, released on July 4th, a movie called Sound of Freedom, you just kind of think that, well, I should go see that movie because it's Sound of Freedom. I love these comments now. Read my comment, says Jack D. Ripper. Rise and shout. Hey, John, what number am I thinking of? Hey, John, you don't look like or act like a monkey. Hey, you don't look or act like a monkey. Hate to break it to you. Oh, thank you. That's actually a compliment. Hey, John, what number am I thinking of? Matthew says, my previous comment is context. How the fuck am I supposed to know your context, dude? Like, seriously. Like, just put it in a comment. How the fuck? You said it multiple times. The writer was killed in that film. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, context in one comment. You don't need to write a paragraph and a paragraph and a paragraph. Put that in the context so I can understand what the hell. Otherwise, I'm skipping your comment. Anyhow, I'm hot. I'm hot. Whenever I wrote a comment, writer was killed in the film, I always made a context. No, you didn't. You literally didn't. You see, the last thing you wrote, see, this is what I'm looking at here, right? This is my form. You said, you are missing pretty much all my comments. And then you write, a writer was killed in the film. There's no fucking context there. Like, if you want to put it in context, put it in context. Don't make me go searching for your previous comment to find... Never mind. I like that you hang out with us. I like that you're here. But don't get on my case for not reading your comment if I don't understand the context, because it's like 10 comments down below. And anyhow, I know you put that comment in at least 3 times. That's why I stopped reading it, because you kept saying the writer was killed in the film. A writer was killed in the film. A writer was killed in the film. A writer was killed in the film. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, it's context. It's in there somewhere. It's somewhere in the bottom there. You got to go fishing for it. But I'm off and on talking about Into the Woods. I'm talking about Pinocchio shitting himself. And I'm talking about Grace Park, but getting confused with Ashley Park, who I have a major freaking crush on. It's a major crush on freaking Ashley Park. And that's the reason why you got to see that movie. For no other reason, just to watch that. Have AI write his comment. We should do that. Let's see if we pull up ChatGPT. GPT. All right, here we go. All right, I gotta get into ChatGPT. We're gonna do this. We're gonna write that. We're gonna kill this writer in the film. We are so going to do this. This is gonna be awesome. You guys are all waiting for this thing, right? All right, here we go. All right, ChatGPT. Here we go. I got it up. I got it open here. Here we go. We're gonna do this. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. And I gotta get going pretty soon because I gotta go to my friend's barbecue. Here we go. All right. Yeah. I agree. Whatever. All right. So I want write me a YouTube comment about a writer getting killed in a movie. Let's see what it says. Okay, here's ChatGPT. Wow, that movie scene where the writer gets killed was absolutely intense. The suspense leading up to that moment had me on the edge of my seat. The way the director crafted the scene was brilliant, capturing the vulnerability and the fear in the writer's eyes. It really showcased the risks and dangers that writers often face in their pursuit of telling compelling stories. Kudos to the actor for their convincing portrayal and their entire production team for creating such a gripping and memorable moment. Definitely a scene that will stay with me for a long time. And scene. All right. Now, here's when I was telling that, write me a YouTube comment about a writer getting killed in a movie in the voice of Gilbert Gottfried. Okay, now let's see if we can do this. Holy moly, folks! Did you see that movie where the writer gets whacked? I mean, talk about unexpected twists and turns. Just when you thought the poor scribbler was gonna get turned into a masterpiece, bam-o! After 6 feet under, who would have thunk it? The director really knows how to give you the heart attack, huh? And let's not forget the actor. They did such a bang-up job portraying the sheer terror of getting murdered mid-sentence. Hats off to the whole crew for taking risks and keeping it on the edge of our seats. That's what I call a writer with a killer punchline. Bravo, my friends, bravo. All right, that was a terrible impression. I thought I sounded better in my voice. The voice sounded better in my head. I probably destroyed your speakers. I can see the YouTube numbers just plummeting. They're rocketing down. Holy moly! The viewers are going in stroke. Anyhow, all right. So there you go. There's the performance of that. Oh no! When I said I wrote the comment 3 times, I was referring to my comment saying the writer was killed in the film. I was referring to the context. YouTube is blocking the context of spam. Well, there you go. That's why I don't see your comment. Okay. All right. You asked me to do this, so we're going to do this. All right. Write me a YouTube comment about a writer getting killed in a movie in the voice of Norm Macdonald. You're picking people that you know that I can actually do an impression of. Hey, there, folks. So I'm watching this flick, right? And there's this writer character. He's just trying to pen the next great American novel. And holy smokes, out of nowhere, he gets taken out. I mean, I'm doing worse than I thought I would do. Sorry, guys. I mean, talk about a plot twist that knocks you on your keister. Yeah, you know that the word keister? Yeah, that's what. So the old family says it's like a screenwriter was saying, "Hey, buddy, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows for us scribblers." Yeah, gotta hand it to the director for keeping us guessing, and the actor. Wow. They had me believing every word of that spilled from their pen before meeting their untimely demise. Yeah, hats off to the whole team and taking risks and giving us a killer tale. Yeah, rest in peace. Rest in prose, my scribbling friends. You left an indelible mark on the celluloid canvas. All right, that's my Norm Macdonald. Sorry about that. Let's do one more that I can kind of do. Write me a YouTube comment about a writer getting killed in a movie in the voice of, you know what I'm talking about, Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino. All right, let's try that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, getting around.
we got to talk about this jaw-dropping scene in that movie where the writer meets a Bruto end. Let me tell you.
Now I'm going to Michael, what's his face from Batman. Let me tell you, it's a wild ride. The way the sequence executes, the tension, the build-up, is like pure poetry emotion. I can't do Quentin. I can't do Quentin with what it's right. It's not feeding me. ChatGPT, Quentin, they would not talk like that. Let's read it to you. The director, true to their style, didn't hold back one bit. They took us on a roller coaster of emotions, teasing us with the writer's potential, only to be snatched away in the blink of an eye. And that actor, oh my, what a performance. They embodied the invulnerability, the desperation, the sheer disbelief of that character's demise. It's cinema at its finest, my friends. A haunting reminder that even the most creative minds aren't immune to the cruel whims of fate. Kudos to the entire team for delivering such an unforgettable and thought-provoking moment. Bravo. I don't know. After reading like 3 of those, you kind of start seeing like how they're all basically the same thing. That's how like you start realizing like how unoriginal everybody is. All right, let's see. Let's go back to your comments. Well, that made it worth tuning in. I know. This is what happens when you get me fired up. $2 from Man. Thank you very much. Thank you for the tips. Thank you very much. Rise and Shout, $2. Guess how much money I'm going to donate. I'm guessing $2. You should. I think if anybody super chats me, you should do it about $3.50. About $3.50. Oh no! Don't make me do a walk-in. Trained monkey. That's what I am, dude. Write me a YouTube comment about a writer getting killed in a movie in the voice of, what's his name again? I forget. My brain, this is so hot, my brain is going crazy. Christopher Walken. Here we go. Christopher Walken. All right, here we go. You know, I was watching this flick the other day, and let me tell you, this is bad. Things took a dark turn for the poor writer. I mean, we would have thought the story would end in such a tragic way. It was like a punch in the gut, a twist that left me speechless. That director, they really know how to keep you on the edge of your seat, don't they? Well, what is this? I'm terrible. And the director, oh boy, their portrayal was something else. They captured the fear, the desperation, as if they were living the writer's final moments themselves. It was intense, my friends, downright bone-chilling. Well, that's the beauty of cinema, isn't it? It takes us to the wild journeys, showing us the fragility of life. And even though those who wield words, hats off to the whole team for crafting such a memorable scene. May that writer's legacy live on forever, etched into the annals of storytelling. In my ass. Okay, enough of John poorly, like heat stroking out here, doing incredibly bad, bottom basement, like uninspired impersonations of people he has no business of doing. Let's be honest here. Let's be completely honest. So thank you guys for the super chats. So, is that what to do? I have to like basically go crazy. Thank you, Rise and Shout, $10. Thank you, missed it. You're very, very disappointed in me. I know. Come on, don't make me do Goldblum. Fuckers. One more. Last one, and I gotta get going before I die of heat stroke. Write me a YouTube comment. Please, if you're out there, if you want to snip this out and put it online, I don't mind, because I probably won't do it myself. Getting killed in a movie in the voice of Jeff Goldblum. I gotta get in the Goldblum mindset. Yeah, so apartments.com. Apartments. Well, what do we have here? A movie where a writer gets the axe. That's quite the twist, my friends. I must say I was on the edge of my seat, devouring every word by that poor soul. But the cruel hand of fate had the other plans. The director, with his wicked genius, orchestrated a scene. Left my jaw on the floor, and the actor, he brought the anguish, the vulnerability, the raw emotion to life. It was a master class of acting, my friends, an absolute tour de force. The movie served as a stark reminder that even the most imaginative minds can meet a grisly end. Bravo to the whole team for daring to challenge the expectations and deliver a tale that won't soon be forgotten. Now, if you excuse me, I need to go find a cozy corner to process all of this. Magnificently unsettling, friends. Indeed! Now, check out my new album, me playing jazz piano, and apartments.com. Get a new apartment. Yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly. All right. And scene. That was better. I think that was better than my Christopher Walken. My Christopher Walken really, I didn't prepare for Christopher Walken. I didn't get into the Christopher Walken mindset. I need to climb into the Christopher Walken. Whereas I took a breath. I thought about apartments.com, and I flowed into what I view as the Jeff Goldblum. I think we did it. My phone's going crazy. My friends are probably saying, "John, where's the chicken? You said you were going to bring chicken." All right. I'm not going to do Dangerfield. We'll do it next time. I'll do Dangerfield. Hey, we should do what's that one guy? Hickory Dickory. Andrew Dice Clay. None of you people are old enough to know who Andrew Dice Clay is. And the thing is, that's funny about this. I don't know what Matthews is finally, after doing all of that, Matthews is now providing the context. Altman's the player is the film he's talking about. It's also seen a producer just throwing away lazy ideas and they think they make money and they write themselves. No one cares for the artist. There we go. That's like the end of that joke of the aristocrats. After you go through all of that like debauchery, and what do you call yourselves? We're the aristocrats. And they're like, wow, we spent all that time doing these performances. And then the whole thing was because we're talking about the Altman's performance. And Amanda says, yes, that was worth $2, but absolutely no more. It's pushing $2. $2 is maybe the max. $3.50, maybe. About $3.50, okay. But $2, we're really close. Filmmaker IQ, AC is broken. There is no AC in my studio. It is a warehouse, and there is no AC. And I am melting, my friends, melting for you. Are you not entertained? All right. Yeah, let's talk. Let's Rise and Shout. Rise and Shout explaining his 2 donations, because if there's a joke, you got to make sure the joke works by explaining it. My joke didn't work. It's supposed to be a joke based on the guess what number I'm thinking of, John comment. Oh, I got you. But the joke does not. Joke needs to be explained. All right. I was watching the old film Death Wish, and I think a young Jeff Goldblum played the thugs that attacked Kersey's family. Yeah, Walken is, well, everyone thinks they can do a Walken. Like, I thought I could do a Walken, but I was really wrong. I couldn't do a Walken. I don't get your disdain for auteur theory. It made many directors get serious in the analysis. Hitchcock before auteur theory was seen as being style without substance. The Western genre was injured. So my disdain for auteur theory is because I see its effect on people trying to learn how to make films. I think it feeds, the auteur theory feeds people's ego in a hard way. And that's why I really don't like auteur theory, because I think it, as a filmmaker, as someone that knows other filmmakers or has been in the circles of indie filmmaking, auteurism is sort of the worst thing, because people get in this head that they have to be, well, all these film critics basically produce all this like theory masturbation that essentially my fight with Nerd Writer for like way many years ago, like a little comment back and forth we had, it essentially gives people the wrong impression of how these things are created. And so I think auteur theory essentially prevents people from learning how to be collaborative. And auteur theory is like the opposite of collaboration. It's sort of in its most like hyper form. Auteur theory is like the movie exists in someone's head, and all you got to do is crack open your head and pull out the movie, and it's all done and finished. And that's not how movies work. That's how movies ever get made. Anyhow, so I should do a Dangerfield and a Andrew Dice Clay and then a Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison was a guy that was originally considered to be Beetlejuice. And that's how we bring the entire stream back in on itself. Time folds up. And we are now at the beginning. Hi, welcome. I'm filmmaker IQ John Hess. I'm just kidding. Actually, Tim Burton originally wanted Sammy Davis Jr. to play Beetlejuice. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine Sammy Davis Jr.? Come on, boys. I can't do a Sammy Davis Jr., but I could do Sam Kinison. Ah, I could do that. I could see Sam Kinison being Beetlejuice. Absolutely. All right, I am hot. I am done at 6 o'clock. I've been on for like an hour and 45 minutes. Are you not entertained? Has this not been an entertaining stream? I'm sure this will never go above 1,000 views, which is fine because then I'll get canceled. All the people that can do Christopher Walken streams will be happy. I will never ever be this will never ever show the light of day. Feel special because you are among the 20 people that probably get to watch this at all. No one else will watch this, I'm sure of it. But you 20 have endured my horrible stream here. So the world needs more Sam Kinison. World needs Sam Kinison. I wish he was alive. That would be wonderful to see him today. And then walking on sunshine. I am hot. I am burning. So with that, all 18 of you people left here, we'll leave you to. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I got a lot of work, so I'm probably not going to do much with the filmmaker video. I got some others. I got one video that I'm trying to put together. Table reads probably. We're going to try to pull that off together in one go. I'm sweating my buns off here. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. We'll get together next week. Don't worry. I don't have a matinee next Saturday, so we can do a matinee. We can do a thing next Saturday afternoon. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm John Hess. I'll see you next time. Go out and make something great, blah, blah, blah. And don't forget to subscribe and like. Okay, you already do that. All right, guys. Take care now. I'm going to fade to black, and I'll see you later. Bye.